Hi, everybody. Welcome to another thrilling episode of Tea Time with Barry and Larry. Of course, Gary and Terry are dead. Wink, wink. So we're here with Gary and Terry. Today we're going to talk about some really interesting stuff. Our new thing is we title it after I'm done with the episode. So I'm not going to read an episode thing, because it always seems like I know what I'm going to talk about better after than during. I figured I'd be outside today because it's a beautiful day and we can see some alpacas come up and nibble on some water. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys prefer outside or inside? I feel like the stuffy attic is a good vibe like in the winter, but I don't know. I just think there's something about being outside. It makes people feel good. All right. Reddit said that paraplegic bear is vulgar. He has coffee. He refers to... Oh, God. All right. So, BB is currently experiencing difficulties with his Ethernet cable. Is it not working? Hang on. Let me know if I'm live. It appears to be live on... Hang on. Oh, it's private. You son of a bitch. Good morning, everybody. Let's see if this works. Hi, welcome to another thrilling episode of Tea Time with Gary and Terry. Or no, Barry and Larry. Gary and Terry are dead. I accidentally was on private earlier, so let me know if this is working. Kyneton obviously put it on private. And I was talking to myself for about 10 minutes. No, 5 minutes. Not that long. All right, what's going on? Let's see if we're live on the Telegram chat. I spilled my coffee. I'm outside. Son of a bitch. All right, are we here? We must have gotten a new Ethernet cable. Good one, Balance Bear. All right, so the invites for the Beartarian build will go out either today or tomorrow. I checked in on that, so they hadn't been sent out yet. So if you didn't get an invite yet and you were a donor to Ursa Rio, that's what happened. Beautiful background, BB. Yeah, I figured the winter is good with the attic, but I mean, I'm not going to be selfish about the beauty. You know, if you want to see the alpacas nibble behind me, see them nibbling, and then they come over and have a nice drink of water. I don't want to hide that. There will be some weird lighting issues, obviously, but there's no light like the real light, like the sun. All right, so today we're going to talk about some interesting stuff that's happening financially in the world. And, yeah. Hi, everybody. Love all around of the Bears. Yeah, you as well. So if you were a donor to Beartaria, go to beartaria.io and fill out all your information. And then the invites are going out either today or tomorrow for the epic build. Our goal is 10 stone cabins and bunk houses. We will see if we accomplish that. There was a shortage on lime, but we got some. Hydrated lime, is that what it's called? But we're going to have a lot of good men working really hard and camping. Jim Bob's coming up, Balance Bear. There's people coming all over the place. And I still also want you guys to send me videos about your own Beartaria. Like, this is Beartaria. Show me, like, what you're growing in your backyard. Any video that you want to tell us about, you know, you getting into gardening or homesteading or anything that's more self-sustaining. And you can email it to whydidn'ttheylaugh@gmail.com. Outside is better, but the occasional inside with piano is nice. That's what I think, too, Base Gardener. No notification from YouTube. How dare they? Hey, Bayou Bear, like, never... I'm not going to react to that. All right, anyway, so as people just experienced something very interesting that happened with Bitcoin yesterday, and I'll give my breakdown, my financial breakdown. It's not what you think it is, by the way, so I'm not just going to bash it. I'm going to explain what I think is happening. Hi, love. I just figured that people wanted some sunshine. Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. Hey, Wally. That is a funny song. What? It sounds like what? Hey, love, when you got a chance, can you grab me some coffee? Thanks. All right, I gotta move out of the sun a little bit here. I can't see the screen. I'm running blind here. And Kyneton doesn't even care. All right, let's watch it again. I feel like that one's worth watching several times. It's really funny. Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. Wally loves that song. He doesn't realize what happened on the screen. All right, so I don't know if you guys are aware, but yesterday, Elon Musk, it might have been 2 days ago, but completely bailed on Bitcoin, allegedly. And I don't think Bitcoin's done, by the way. I think they're doing trauma-based mind control. I'll tell you about it in a second. All right. 1 second. Don't get me wrong. I hope it all burns. I hope the Bitcoin just dies, like, and everybody loses everything that's involved in it. Yeah. So don't think I'm rooting for you, Bitcoin people. It's like you're trying to usher in a one world currency. It's terrible. Will it probably come to pass? Yeah. Should you be a part of it? No. But what I think is happening, so Elon Musk pulled one of his fast ones. You have to understand, you don't have to understand. You should understand. Oh, I think my Instagram just got deleted. Yeah. Rabbi Judah is now gone. Oh no. It got deleted that fast. That's all right. Let me read it on my phone. Oh no, it's back. Nice. All right, so anyway, Bitcoin went down 15%, and that's great. I hope everybody that has it lost money and then sold it. And like, how dare you, I'm using it to buy farmland. No, you're not. The people that were going to be in and out to actually make money on it already sold a long time ago. Holding currency is how you destroy an economy, by the way, just to let you know. That's why all the money that comes into me, I buy farmland and animals and local economy and stuff, because if you hold on to currency, it literally makes it so the next generation dies. So just know that me and everybody is rooting against you if you hold cryptocurrency. Like, I think you're really bad. Anyway, so Elon Musk, somebody, he like canceled. Cybertruck canceled. Elon Musk used to be a hero of mine until he took it too far yesterday, selling out the entire hashtag Bitcoin community. There's a Bitcoin community. It's like, you want to be a part of our community? What's it based on? Ones and zeros, lies, nonsense, and greed. Bear in mind, Elon Musk made his first fortune on nonsense money. Is this going? I don't know. Big squirt. Instagram is being glitchy, but your account is up. Oh, cool. Either way, you can judge by my reaction. It doesn't matter at all. Like, Bertaria Times is my go-to social media. And if you haven't seen me posting lately, it's because I'm trying to post in the categories that is applicable to what I'm posting. Like, I'm trying to post more in the Idaho section and not just community. Because I want to build up the idea that people post where they live. And so that way, you get to make friends and you can be part of your local community a lot better than Instagram is just, I mean, it's just so gigantic. It doesn't like actually give people friendships or anything. And I do have some stuff I'm going to say that, okay, like it says Instagram, silver is up 70% in a year. Here's why experts say it could go even further. I think they're about to take silver down a bit because that's CNBC. Whenever CNBC says experts agree on something, it's the opposite. So I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm not a big trader. I don't do day trades. I don't do anything like that. So don't think that this is that type of channel. I'm not giving financial advice, but I am really good at seeing patterns. So don't think that silver's the savior right now of all your, silver's been dropping. Yeah, and because whenever they say this, they want people to buy into silver so that they can offload some silver. It doesn't matter. Long-term silver wins. You think in 5-10 year cycles, don't think short-term. But so Elon Musk tweeted, I talked about this yesterday. I just find this interesting because of the patterns. I don't care about the money. Just don't think that I'm like super into the money aspect. It's boring. But the patterns, the human nature of it is fascinating. So Tesla has suspended vehicle purchasing using Bitcoin. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions. All right. So they're setting up narratives now where, do I think Bitcoin's done? No. I think it could go all the way down to 10,000. Because, you know, in trading, you have something called supports and resistance, where it trades sideways. It goes up and down. And the down is what's called a support, where it doesn't typically go below that support. And then it hits a peak and goes back down. It's like a ball bouncing. The top is called resistance. And so right now its resistance is 60,000. And I don't think you should get involved in this, by the way. I'm just letting you guys know how it works, because a lot of people don't know how this stuff works. Stocks are for criminals and animals. Which one are you guys? That's a good one, Kale Bear. And so the resistance is very weak, all the way down to 10 to 13,000 for Bitcoin. And if you look at the patterns, you know, Bitcoin went up to like 10,000, then dropped to 3,200, and then it shot way up to 60,000. So now if you go by that metric, it could drop down to 15% of 60,000. So yeah, I think it's going to keep falling. And then the narratives. Okay, so I'll give you some possible narratives. Like, Bitcoin isn't going to go to zero for any time soon. And it will keep going up and down, because they're kind of doing trauma-based mind control, where the traders that were like, yeah, but we stuck it out when it went to 3,000, and now look at us, still gay and dumb. So they're developing a culture where they stick it out. They hold, they don't sell, which is terrible for a currency, terrible for society. The whole thing's based on absolute fraud, you know, and Elon Musk backed it. And so now it's going down, dropping to 33,911. I think it could go all the way down to 10,000. Trauma-based buying control. Yeah, totally. And so the narrative of like, Elon Musk is like, you know, I can't buy it until it gets itself together. So now you got all these Bitcoin people that are going to be rooting for the Green New Deal. You know, all these, the way narratives work and mind control works is that there are all these Bitcoin entrepreneurs that literally just do this with their finger in a basement in between squirts. All right, the top was 66K. Yeah, I think it could drop. I mean, I don't care. I'm just letting you know how systems work. I think it could keep dropping and then shoot up to like 150. Don't think about making money doing this. It's like ruining your life. Like, every Bitcoin trader I know, every crypto trader I know is like mentally losing their minds. It's like, oh, don't you know I just made $100,000? It's like, yeah, you didn't, in the meantime, you didn't do anything else though. You're like, you have to understand, like, they're controlling your behavior. You would have been better off literally raking grass. All right, it will never see 10K again. Ha 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 ha, says Ming Yin. Well, it might not. I mean, it could. It doesn't matter. But I think if it follows that pattern, people are going to start either selling it in a panic buy, like it's a lie, or they're going to hold it and be really depressed for 2 years. It's just all behavior. It's like, and it controls men's behavior. So now men, instead of going out and doing something positive for the world and having a family, they're like staring at a computer screen like for like years. And then it'll go down to like maybe, I don't know, 10, 15,000. I don't know. It's all a carnival game. But like, then when people sell it and say, I never should have gotten into Bitcoin, it's going to shoot back up again. And then they're going to be like, I should have trusted you, Bitcoin. Here's a perfect cartoon to kind of sum up how that all works. Here you have a man looks at a tree full of pears and he chops it down to build an idol to pray for pears. You know, it's like, that's Bitcoin, where it's like, oh, I need the Bitcoin in order to farm. It's like, well, so you're trading Bitcoin and not farming. Yeah. Meanwhile, land is going up faster than Bitcoin's ever going to go up, in my opinion. And if Bitcoin does hit the moon and it's like $1 million, that means the dollar's gone. So anyway, MSNBC says, and I have an interesting take on this because it's not what you think, because everybody knows I'm very pro-silver, Very pro silver, gold, land, skills, community. Stuff that has actual value. Very anti-cryptocurrency. I think it's a terrible religion that's being created by trauma. Like, everybody that sells it as Bitcoin's going down is going to then regret it. And they're going to be like, I should have held on to you, Bitcoin. I should have held on to you. I'm sorry for losing faith. Ye of little faith in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is created by like monsters. Elon Musk with PayPal figured out how to just do fake money, and it never stopped. He's like, oh, wow, fake money. Fake money's great. All right, so anyway, silver's up over 70% in a year. Here's why experts say it could go further to go. So yeah, silver's been doing great. It's an awesome place to hold value as the dollar collapses. And on Instagram, what I said was, this could also read the dollar is down 70% this year. Here's why Joe Rogan now only got paid $30 million from Spotify, unless they were paying him in gold, silver, or land, which they aren't. Okay, but I do think this is a sign that silver is about to go down to a support, which would be like $20, maybe $21, because the longer it trades sideways at a support, the longer it'll hold. So if a stock is going like 2024 for like a long time, it's hard to go below 20. And same with 24. It'd be hard to go above 24. And so if it hits its support, the reason MSNBC posts any article is to get people to buy it so they can sell it. The media is 100% controlled by banking interests. They're never, ever trying to get you rich. And so that's why you saw a big push in mainstream media to buy Bitcoin right before it collapsed, this most recent collapse, and I think it's going to continue to collapse because the Church of Elon says that he won't sell his nonsense cars after saying he will sell. You see, it's like very traumatic how he's like controlling people, where it's like, oh, the future is Bitcoin. I'm going to sell my nonsense vehicles in Bitcoin. Then he's like, no, now I'm not, though. Imagine thinking a businessman is like a valid businessman who just keeps like saying stuff and then taking it away. Like, he's way more unstable than me, and I'm a comedian. Like, my whole purpose is to make people laugh. And Elon's whole purpose is to be like a stable businessman. The only business that he's doing is the carnival game of fake money. Whether it's going to the moon or driving one of these nonsense Barbie cars for autists, it's like he doesn't have any businesses. And so do I think Bitcoin is going to crash? No. Well, I mean, crash, yeah, but I think the future is going to have a crypto-based world currency. That isn't good in my opinion, and I think people should steer clear from it and figure out a life that doesn't involve that now, so later when you watch your fellow man spiraling, it's like you're not involved. I wish I had stayed on MySpace and never went to Facebook. MySpace still on some level exists. All right, still waiting for the Tesla trucks that we're doing 2017. Oh yeah, and everybody's waiting to go to the moon. It's almost like a really bad dad who like leaves the kids and then comes back randomly like every few months and then leaves. And so they're always staring at the window like, when's daddy coming home? And so if that either creates someone like me who's like, I'm done with dad. Like, I'm done with the system. I'm done with Elon Musk and his nonsense. I'm done with science. You know, I'm done with media and schooling and all that stuff. I'm done. I'm done with grocery stores. You know, it creates cucks. It creates adult children that's like, one day dad's coming home. You'll see. And so that's kind of like how a bad dad creates two different types of sons. Like, one son is like, yeah, my dad never came back, said Ming Yin. Yeah. Bitcoin is like a cat, pet me, not pet me again, stop. Right. And meanwhile, like the future of Bitcoin and Elon Musk, he just took it away. He's like, oh no, now you can't. And then he's like, oh, and I guarantee he in the future says you can again. He's going to be like, now you can buy it again. And everybody's going to feel this like trauma euphoria where they're like, oh my God, I never should have left you, Elon. His name's Elon. And I hear from people that know him that he's like totally crazy. Like, I know people that know Elon Musk and they're like, dude, he's a kook. Like, he's legitimately a crazy person. And these like legitimate crazy people are now in charge of currency where they're like, I'm taking it away. Now I'm going to give it back. And meanwhile, people are like, oh, this is my future. This is how I'm going to buy farmland. Imagine if people bought Bitcoin with a credit card at 60,000. Right? Like, think about the hell they'll be in for the next 2 years. They're just going to be paying interest on something that could go down to 10,000. And then you have to think 10,000 what? Dollars? And then what's the dollar doing, you know? All right, let's talk about better stuff. The good news is it doesn't matter at all. Here's my son yesterday playing on a trampoline with that backdrop. And I know the must be nice people are going to say like, oh, might be nice, so easy for you. I've had a very hard road when it comes to like maintaining an income, maintaining an ability to be in a society, maintaining my mind, maintaining my optimism. You know, when the global media tries to destroy your name through Wikipedia, Twitter, Facebook, takes you off online banking. Like, I'm not allowed on PayPal. It's hilarious. Elon is like, no, you're not allowed on PayPal because you don't want to go to the moon with Dogecoin. My kids' childhoods are better than my childhood was in the 80s. So when you reminisce on a time back when you thought things were better, they weren't better. Things are better now because the truth is being come out. Unreal. Look at that background. Yeah, this is, dude, guys, I'm not a privileged man. I'm privileged in that I have gratitude, faith, health, you know, a great community. But like, the system gave me no benefit. In fact, they've been trying to destroy me and my family for years. And so it's like, if you just hold the line, that's why I want you guys to send me videos about your own Bertaria, where it's like, I don't want people to just look at my life and think, wow, might be nice. I want people to look at my life and say, I can do that in my backyard. I can start a garden. And the more townhome, apartment in the middle of Cleveland, like the more you're in an area that people wouldn't normally associate with beauty, the better. Like, the more inspiring it is. So it's like, send me videos to whydidn'ttheylaugh@gmail.com about your Bertaria. It can be a tomato plant in a window. It can be a giant cow farm. It can be your kids helping you build something. Like, because it's a spirit. It's like it's a thing that transcends, you know, physical reality, where you're just like, I'm going to actively engage in my surroundings and not focus on nonsense on a computer screen all day. And I think that's what makes this stream valuable for people and entertaining, is because I'm actively associating with the real world. Unlike a lot of live streams and a lot of streams where people are just upset. The only reason I even talk about Bitcoin and stuff is to help people navigate it. When their friends, family, you know, when they obsess about it, when they think that's their future economy, is like nonsense, you know, fake coins. It's like, if you engage in the real world, there's unlimited, literally unlimited. And I'm not exaggerating. There's unlimited employment opportunities, unlimited family opportunities, unlimited wealth opportunities. It just isn't necessarily going to be what you think it is. Like, it's not necessarily unlimited fiat or Bitcoin, but unlimited of like that. No, not that. And it's like, so many doomer gloomers are like, oh, how can I bring a child into this horrible world? I'm pretty sure Walter would tell you, he'd say, hold my juice box, and he'd just start crushing. All right. This is interesting. Kaj just sent me this. I didn't know this, but I don't even know if this is true, but it's something to think about.
Wild and crazy Friday night findings. We just discovered, which we already knew, that your phone, an iPhone specifically, takes an infrared picture of you with your Face ID every 5-ish seconds. And we looked at it through an infrared camera, and it's pretty wild. Let's show you. Okay, have your home screen.
It's on the home screen.
Not touching anything.
No buttons.
Okay, infrared lens on the camera. Boom, there was one. 2. That's so wild. Okay, cover the camera.
Okay.
Oh, there was another one. Okay, nothing. Oh, it's trying. It's taking pictures of your finger. Okay, move your finger. Ready? Boom. Wild.
That's weird. All right, God, hit me with super chat. If you want to super chat me, entropystream.live/app/Owen Benjamin Comedy. Yeah, someone in the chat said something. 150 years ago, It took you a week to find out what the president said. Yeah, people just didn't care. I think the powers that be were more sinister back then. I think the East India Trading Company and all that stuff was way crazier than what we're currently experiencing. I just think that we have such a better communication network that it appears like the world's gone crazy, but it really hasn't. And I'm glad we have this communication network, because if you use it for good, it's like unlimited, guys. Like, I really mean unlimited. Like we're gonna start building Bertaria this week. Thanks, love. And you're gonna get your invites. That's good. You're gonna get your invites either today or tomorrow. And come camp, we're gonna give you a list of things you need to bring, things that we'd like you to bring if you can. You know, bring food or ability to get food. I'm gonna be bringing like milk and stuff from my farm, and I'm gonna bring a lot of meat. We'll be grilling all the time there. But you know, if there's like 100 people, I can't really feed 100 people. But so be a little self-sufficient. All right, here's some super chats. Happy birthday to Papa J. Great stream as always. Yeah, happy birthday, Papa J Bear. Spider says, a tip for the piano man. God bless the bear community. You as well. Postal service and newspaper delivery started the propaganda spread for sure. Well, but people wanted it. Tom Barnett was talking to this woman today, and I love the interview. He was talking about how people wanted it. You know, there's this big movement where it's like, oh, the men in the West are becoming weak. The sperm has dropped 50% and all this. There's erectile dysfunction. I'm like, and Tom was right. He's like, yeah, people choose it though. Of course, 5G and stuff in the water and bad food and stuff, like, of course that's an issue, but it's very subtle. The real issue is porn and like whacking all the time. It's like you can't get a boner if you train your brain to like watch other people bang in like really crazy ways. You know, if people are just like draining their balls all day, what do you think happens to your sperm count? That's like the whole problem. It's yet another excuse. It's like in the 80s, it was an African monkey to excuse all the behavior of the GAYs. Oh no, it's not because they've been up for 2 weeks in a bathhouse. No, that can't be why their health is failing. It's a monkey in Africa. And then you see that now with the corona. It's like, oh, it's a bat in China. It's not because I live a disgusting life, not because I'm addicted to trauma porn and like violence and despair and alcohol. And no, none of that. It's clearly a bat in Africa. And it's the same with like the drop of masculinity in the West, where people say, oh, people can't have kids, you know, erectile dysfunction. It's because of the water. It's because of it's because of the planes in the sky spraying something. It's definitely not that you're addicted to like threesome incest porn, where like you've wired your brain that you like need to watch a scenario unfold with a stepmother and like 5 chicks. Like, no, that's definitely not the problem with your ween. And like your like horrible sperm count. Oh, it's the sky. It's the clouds in the sky. It's definitely not because you spend all day just draining it until it doesn't work anymore. That's crazy. Just always watch, because the truth community completely is the same problem. It's like, oh, we're forced to wear the mask. When I lived 6 months of this tyranny in Washington State, one of the most leftist states in the country, one of the worst governors, I never wore a mask. All right, what's going to happen when a bat F's a monkey? Oh, I know. As soon as a bat F's a monkey, you're going to have COVIDs. The food one chooses to put in one's ghoul hole does have an effect, of course, but that's a choice. It's all a choice. It's all a choice. And I know people want to feel like victims, and the truth community is no different, where they're like, it's being done to me. I can't get a boner or ejaculate. Well, do you have a history of watching pornography? Of course, it's the only way I can get my dead boner to work. Then Alex Jones will be right for once. Oh yeah, he said that COVID was airborne AIDS, and people still like listen to him and think that he's a valuable guy. It's crazy. BB, do you believe in Ebola? No. You mean the one guy who died in America of it who was 33 years old? No, I don't. I think there's a place called Ebola Africa, and I think they probably have horrible toxicity, and it probably creates like skin lesions. I don't think people catch diseases from other people. And for all the people that just want to call me crazy, like, I'm healthier than you. Like, if you look at the health ministers in all these states, they all look like dead ghouls that you like injected with adrenaline just to get like one more movement out of their dead bodies. I think people get disease from bad food, bad lifestyle, bad thoughts, bad water, mold, your parasites in your gut, bacteria that feed on really bad thoughts, bad food, bad lifestyle, drugs, pharmaceutical drugs, alcohol. Every time, like, I quit drinking alcohol over a year ago. I can't remember when it was. I know it was in April. It was either 2 years ago or 1 year ago. And ever since, like, I've had a few drinks, and every now and then I'll like have like a glass of wine with Amy or like a local apple cider or something. And I feel like I poison myself. Like, I can't drink anymore. Like, once my body got like used to not drinking, now like when I drink, if I ever have any booze, like the next day I feel terrible. Oh, 2 years, nice. Because I'm not like like the AA guys that are like, I'm a victim to alcohol. I can't even smell it or I'll relapse and, whack myself silly and jump off a roof. Like, I'm not one of those guys. Like, even when I drank, I didn't get mean or anything. And it wasn't a way for me to excuse like horrible behavior, but it was very unhealthy. All right. I'm sober since 3/11/19. Great. Good job, Kale Bear. Alex Jones showed a rape video live on his show when he was on YouTube and had stayed up for months. He claimed his show was kid-friendly. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. Dude, it's really bad. Hey, Charlie. What's that? Is that an egg? Good. Charlie said egg. Say egg. Say Charlie. Say Walter. Walter. Chicken. Good job, Charlie. He's getting it. Wow. Can you show the people?
Very balanced. So
this is our Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. You guys see it?
it's butt coin.
It's butt coin.
It comes from the chicken's
It comes
butt.
from a chicken's butt. Welcome to Buttcoin, ladies and gentlemen. Have you invested in Buttcoin? Thanks, love. All right. Is that one day?
I don't know. Probably a little bit more than that.
Alcohol unleashes the demons within people. I see it. People's eyes around here. Small towns do have their committed drinkers. Yeah, I started drinking in 8th grade, and I quit when I was like 38 or 39. I don't quite know the days. I drank really hard for a good chunk of my life. Like, my whole Hollywood career, I drank the whole time. Like, after every show, I'd have like 5-10 drinks. Like, that's crazy bad for you. And so that's why I've went like vegan for the last like month. And I'm really trying to work on that, is because I think when I quit putting toxins in my body, it kind of ballooned up a little bit, and I had a lot of inflammation to like kind of start releasing the toxins that I'd been putting in my body for like years and years and years. And now that I'm like not ingesting protein or animal stuff, it's like finally going away. And then I'm going to slowly introduce raw meat and like some butter and stuff back into my diet, but it's slow. Like, I'm very pro meat and pro all this stuff, but your body has to be able to metabolize it. And if the liver is too just destroyed by alcohol, I don't recommend meat. I think that if you're going to be an alcoholic, you should be a vegan, because your body, if your liver doesn't function, like it doesn't have bile and all that, like you can't digest meat and fat you can't digest like healthy fat. It's just kind of like your liver is grateful, BB. Yeah. Pot, on the other hand, until about last month, yeah, I don't know. I think pot makes you gay. Dear Big Bear, enclosed is the limp noodle per 15 they make us use at Boundary County Jail. We can't be trusted with hard-ons. What are you talking about? That's weird, though. That's a sink. I ask of you and the Bears nothing. I only wish to share. May 3rd, I was ordered to appear here in the court at Bounty County, and so I went knowing I wouldn't be allowed in unmasked. I came, was rejected, filed my notice of appearance, my notice of medical exemption, and patiently waited to be arrested for failure to appear as witnessed by Van Allen Bear. Praise the Lord, I'm crushing in here. Hold your position, friends and lads, and courageous and get creative. Protect your families and avoid situations where you may be taken from them, and most of all, stick to your guns. Proud to be a bear Ica, where at least no mass on me. And I won't forget the boomers that went in debt to enslave me. And this is from Sean. Thank you, BB. Crush on. Awesome. I think I got a letter from jail. I used to get letters from this one mental hospital a lot. All right. Yeah, that's cool though. I mean, it's cool that you stuck to your guns, but I don't recommend dudes with families and stuff. Like the legal court system right now is so like crazy. You know, like if you don't like squirt hand sanitizer all over something, like they'll just leave you in jail. It's just like weird. I just recommend staying away from it completely and just building an infrastructure in a community where you don't have to interact with a lot of these crazy people. That's my, if you enjoy it, like there's some bears that genuinely enjoy the chess match of how do you stand up for your rights? How do you not entrap yourself with Pharisee? That's a young man's game, in my opinion. I think that if you want to tango with crazy people, I mean, these people are wearing rubber gloves. So it's like you're dealing with extreme mental illness. So like, it's kind of like playing in a game like basketball. You're not allowed to hack someone's hand. And you're like, you hacked my arm. And then you look over and someone's covered in blood and they're wearing rubber gloves and they're like, ah! You're not going to have like a fair game. You know what I'm saying? You got a ton of letters from mental institutions that were ranting about the number 3. Yeah, totally. Oh, Boer Bear has been crushing writing for Unbearables Media. After this build, when we start really launching Unbearables Media, like to compete with Babylon Bee, it's gonna blow your minds. Some of Boer Bear's titles are like, they made me like cry laughing. One of them was like, I'm not even gonna do it justice, but it's really, really good. All right, I tried to play chess, lost, got my last 2 hours of community service tomorrow. Yeah, but you learn a lot, you know, like in my interaction with Patreon for the last 15 months, they don't play at all by the rules. The courts are way, way, way better than the jams and arbitration services. It's like, guys, I'm telling you, it's like you're dealing with legitimately crazy people. Like, they're like, I don't care what the rules say. I'm upset. And you're like, wait, no, you can't do that. It's like, you are bad man. Like, okay, it says in the law and in your contract that you can't do what you're doing right now. And they're like, but I'm really mad. Okay. So that's why, you know, building Beartaria is the move, because fighting with people that I believe a lot of them are going downhill really fast. You know, I wrote that to Tom Barnett today about how if you look at the pattern of problem, reaction, solution, people do it to themselves. So-called rules. Oh, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. And the amount of time and resource, I'm so glad everyone is sticking with us with this Patreon thing, because we're learning about the system and how it actually works. I support the California legislature way more than private arbitration firms. That's why these ANCAPs are so insane. If you think a private company should arbitrate your legal disputes, you have no idea what you're talking about, guys. It's like the darkest pits of madness. Like, I am like, the California left-wing judicial system has stopped their madness like several times in this process. We're like judges that before I would be like, oh, it's California, it's probably corrupt. Judges in the legal system of America are way more reasonable and more logical, regardless of politics, than arbitration. Arbitration is as if it's like a drunk college girl. Like, it's like playing chess with a drunk college girl. It's like, but the king beat the queen, I win. It's like, no, you're not allowed to go that way. It's like, ugh, and then they puke on themselves and they go, you never loved me, Gary. It's bad, man. It's really dark. And so, because we won, like we've won on everything, because it's like we were right. We wouldn't have engaged in this if we didn't know we won. And so some of their reactions are like, well, it appears that you have Patreon boxed in a corner, so I'm just going to make up rules so you don't anymore. And we're like, no, we won though. And they're like, yeah, no, you clearly won, so we don't like that. So now we're just going to change it. And so the way I believe God works and nature and all this is those people end up so insane that they're injecting poison into their arms for something that I don't believe exists. The system is about honoring the process. Yeah, dude, that's another reason I support the United States of America, the government, the system that they have, because it's guys, imagine if Taco Bell had an army. Imagine if there was a judge that worked for Taco Bell. Like, I know the current system is flawed. I know that a lot of judges are corrupt. I know that people have been screwed over. I get it. You trust me or not, I'm living my life according to the knowledge I've acquired. It would be so much worse if like the government fell and we were like ruled. Well, it wouldn't necessarily be worse, because then it would just mean that another government would be formed, because these like witch banshees that work at these arbitration centers, guys, I'm telling you, it's like being around a drunk girl. And they're like, I got power now. You can't do anything, because a lot of these arbitration systems, they have like immunity. Like they can say anything and nothing happens. Like they break all the laws. You know, they've used my name in like tons of arbitrations, slandering me, blasting me. That's completely illegal, you know? And so the laws are there to protect the individual and like the taxpayer in the country. They like what they do is so much worse. Like, okay, a bunch of people that were following me on Patreon all filed arbitrations. In other arbitrations, not my arbitration, I filed an arbitration as well. In other arbitrations, they like bring me up and my family and slander me. Do you know how unbelievably crazy illegal that is? It's like, and then they're like, oh, well, according to the California Consumer Protections Act, you only have to pay $250, but we're going to try and get you to pay like $1 billion. And you're like, no, you're still in America though. And they're like, yeah, but we don't want that. Do as thou wilt is the whole of the law. But see, now that you're seeing the fuel stuff, you see what's happening to currency, you're seeing what's happening to business. You can't function when you cheat. If you're a cheater, no one wants to play with you anymore, and other governments will emerge. Because in the end of the day, if you're not fair, people will flip the boards. People are wildly retarded. Yeah, it's wild, dude. So that's why, like, right now, I don't recommend, even engaging in the United States government, legal system, none of that. I'm telling you, I know tons of cops, tons of lawyers. I'm good friends with, like, the county's lawyer and, like, all these people. They're like, even the people working for the system, they're like, just avoid it. And I'm like, why? They're like, it's really bad. Bad, like, they're tyranny and they'll put everyone in jail. They're like, they don't know. They're not capable of anything anymore. And I'm like, okay. They're like, just keep doing the Bertaria thing. Trust me. I'm talking about, like, high-level judge types in the system have, like, given me that advice. They're like, keep doing what you're doing. Is there a place I can donate? I'm like, why? They're like, because it's gotten real crazy, real quick. And so I was listening to Tom Burnett. I wrote to him today. I'm like, man, if the patterns that I see follow the same order, we're looking at a lot of death from from the treatment of COVID-19. Look at AIDS, man. It's like, so you got all these butt boys that will not admit that their lifestyle is unhealthy. They might have bad skin. They might like get pneumonia and not recover very easily. I know how the gays were acting in the 70s and 80s. My parents were professors, so it's like one of their good friends, his name was Carl. No, it was Jim. Was like a San Fran butt boy, but they were all like intellectuals. And so they knew him really well, and they knew a lot of his friends, and they were like going to bathhouses, having sex with like 20 guys a day, literally. And when they get erectile dysfunction and their bodies would start shutting down, they would take something called amyl nitrate to like keep their body going. It's called poppers. And so what would happen is the shame of that lifestyle and how bad that is for your health started eating away at these gays. And so instead of facing the reality that it's their lifestyle that was causing the problem, they were presented with a solution, which is called AZT. AZT is a medicine that was so toxic, they stopped giving it to cancer patients as chemotherapy. You can look all this up because it would collapse your immune system. So Dr. Fauci, the same guy, gave like thousands of gays AZT, and that's when you see movies like Philadelphia and all that, Dallas Buyers Club. The result, it's so obvious and so crazy. The result of the AZT is all of the AIDS symptoms in America. You know, pock marks on your face, shutting down the immune system, getting very skinny, you know, and then eventually death. It's literally, if you look at the side effects of the drug AZT, it is exactly the symptoms of AIDS. Exactly. And so all these gays that felt guilty and ashamed of their lifestyle and wanted a scapegoat, they said, it's not because of me. It's not because of my lifestyle. It's because someone fucked a monkey in Africa. That was mainstream, guys. I don't forget this shit. A bear never forgets. In the 1980s in school, they taught us that someone banged a monkey in Africa, and now it's going to everybody. And so I remember, like, we didn't have to wear masks and stuff, but it sucked. Like, school, we're all super scared of AIDS. They wouldn't let it. They stopped having us like wrestle and stuff in gym class because you could get AIDS from another kid. Like, totally the same mania. So then all these gays, dude, tons of them died. Like, how many? I'm gonna look up how many Garys died of AIDS. And dude, this is the next level. I don't even know if Dr. Fauci is aware of it. How many Americans died of AIDS? As of 2018, about 700,000 people have died of HIV/AIDS in the U.S. since the beginning of the HIV epidemic, and nearly 13,000 people with AIDS in the United States die each year. With improved treatment and better prophylaxis against opportunistic infectors, death rates have significantly declined. Want to know what's declined? Bathhouses and then AZT. People stopped taking AZT. Want to know how Magic Johnson beat AIDS? He didn't take AZT. Magic Johnson famously did not take AZT. Arthur Ashe, all these other guys, Freddie Mercury, they all took AZT. And so AZT would give you the very symptoms of AIDS, and so then you'd take more AZT to cure the AIDS when it was caused literally by the cure. So now you have a bigger world event, not just the gays, because everybody now lives like a gay. Sloth, lust, greed, envy, all of it. It's just infecting people. So the shame and the bad health of living lies, living sedentary, bad lives, bad thoughts, no faith, atheism, nihilism, all of it. So they start getting shortness of breath. You know, all these symptoms of COVID are real. They have a hard time breathing. Yeah, that happens when you have panic attacks. That happens when you have anxiety, depression. It happens when your subconscious is telling you something is terribly wrong. So you go get treatment, and that treatment, given the pattern that I've seen in AIDS, the treatment will be really, really devastating. All right, any more super chats? EntropyStream.live/app/Owen Benjamin Comedy. Listening to him talk on Joe Rogan for the first time was revealing the guy's dumb as shit. My daddy is mad at your daddy. I don't know what you're talking about. Sodomy in all forms equals a death sentence. Yes. How many are murdered by doctors daily? I'm not going to call it murdered because I'm not going to make that truth or mistake of assigning blame and compliance to everybody involved. I'm not. Like, there's probably the craziest thing about all these like events is how many people comply without knowing what they're doing. Myself included. I've been a part of stuff and had no idea what I was doing at the time. And looking back, it's really dark. All right, watching with my mom today. She's starting to get it and says, keep crushing bears. Thank you, Bowler Bear. Your stream convinced me to do a 3-day detox and stop drinking for a month. Now eating healthy and losing weight. Keep crushing. Awesome. Great to hear that, Louisiana Black Bear. Thanks, BB. Honey Eye Bear. Thank you. Okay, awesome. Let's read another letter. And so you know the AIDS narrative is bullshit when you understand that when Africans started getting AIDS, it had a completely different vector. Where it was like the number one contractor of AIDS in Africa was not homosexuals, it was women. In America, they told us that the only way to really get AIDS was blood transfusions and anal sex, sodomy, you know. Hang on a second. So then Africa started dying of AIDS, but it was women and children, right? I'm starting to put something together right now. Hang on a second. It was eugenics in America too. I think they were trying to kill off a bunch of gays, and all it did is strengthen them. Anyway, so they're killing off women and children in Africa, and all of the symptoms were exactly the same as dysentery. They didn't have the same symptoms in Africa. They didn't have pockmarks. They didn't have a broken immune system. It wasn't like ammonia didn't kill them. It wasn't like a broken immune system. In Africa, it was shitting yourself to death. And it was also just vomiting, diarrhea, all that stuff. So AIDS went from American gays, jumped the ocean, then went to Africa, had different symptoms and a different target group. So it wasn't spread by anal sex and bathhouses. It was spread to women and children. Where in America, famously, women and children did not get AIDS. In Africa, whatever they were doing, what was making them take whatever was being given to them was a different solution to a scapegoat. Is that very interesting? All right. Probably from drinking shitty water. Yeah, but it's like something changed in Africa. A lot of people started dying in Africa, like a lot. AIDS gave an amount of sympathy to the gays, set the stage for pride, marriage, etc. Yeah. It did give a lot of sympathy to the gays. When in reality, they were just a bunch of butt boy queens pounding poison because they felt so guilty about how they lived. Yeah, that's it. All right. Semi-final solution? No. Stop with that talk. And by the way, when we're doing the build, if people start talking like that, you're going to be asked to leave. If at this point you don't see the obvious trick of all that Natsu stuff, it's like, and I know you might have been joking, but it's like, you know, you wouldn't have LGBT mania in America if it wasn't for AIDS. Like, people wouldn't have accepted it. You needed that tragedy, quote unquote, with all the propaganda, the AIDS ribbons, all that, or else it wouldn't. Understood. My apologies for the misunderstanding. No problem, Time Bear. But it's like, okay, I'll explain it again, but it's a trap. So I assume you're up to no good here if you're like talking about the Jewish question or like final solution, because it's such a dumb, obvious Hollywood trap. I've broken down World War II many times. I've broken down the Jewish spell, the trap, how even calling them Jews, you're complying to them. Even if you're like, I hate the Jews, quote unquote, you're still calling them Jews. They're not Jews. They're fake Jews. It's right out of the Bible. It's Jews who call themselves Jews but are not Jews. The synagogue of Satan. If you say, I hate the Jews, you're literally elevating them as Jews. Like Dr. Fauci, the Rothschilds, like these people are not Jews. Like, Jews are people who follow the Torah, and these tricksters that pretend to be Jews to get sympathy, to get respect from the population, they're God-fearing, are lying. It's a liability shield, and it's unfolding right now. The only reason I'm even talking about this and being so aggressive is right now it's happening. Remember, like, for years now, I started talking about how there was going to come a time when wrath against Jews was going to become mainstream and that I would be against it. Remember years ago, for those of you that have been here for years, lots of gays in China allegedly. Well, gays come from bad fathers. And then propaganda in the media, which is, again, bad fathers. That's so as bad as people saying they hate Americans. Exactly. And the people doing this stuff aren't even Jews. It's like they're Satanists. They're like self-obsessed, like Kabbalah freaks. I remember well, you helped me out of the J spell. What a liberation. Yeah. I predicted what was coming. I predicted so much that just trust me on this. I see the patterns. It's like they're now like the system, the great Satan is retreating, and they're burning the levels of privilege. And the Jays are above us in privilege in America, especially, like way above. Like they appear to be so opulent and they're making $500,000, $1 million a year. They're like part of some media thing. They're selling drugs, selling porn, whatever they're doing. And people are buying it. It's not just them. But Alex Jones said it was the Jews. I don't know what you're talking about. He's always wrong now. He's inverted. So now when people say, oh, it's the Jews, it's Israel, it's blah, 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 it's not. It's way darker and way deeper. Like they're now going to get all the rage that's going to come because as the dollar collapses and as people realize that their life is not what they were promised and that they should never have left the farms and that it's going to be harder and harder to get material possessions, people's tolerance to porn and booze and drugs is so high now that they got to watch shit that's just crazy to get their dead dick to work. And their bodies are so polluted that the system needs to feed more red meat. And so think about how the system fed white America to the beast when it was collapsing. So the reason that they're feeding white America to the beast is because they want to take our resources and to they're in a backpedal. It's the snake eating itself. So think about 20 years hearing what you're hearing about white America. No chance. Like the white America had so much power in America and so much like media backing, system backing, all that you would never hear like all this talk of reparations and, white supremacy, just being like a good father and all that. That's going to happen to the Jews. And it's already starting to happen because the system doesn't care about its worshipers. It's like, that's why you should worship God, not Satan. Because if you worship Satan, which is really worshiping yourself, you have no protection. In fact, you're now on like basically an assembly line of death. If you worship God, you're always in his kingdom. You're always in his protection, no matter what the system does. And so as the system retreated and burned its special boys, white America were special boys. And it was settled by Anglos. Okay, we get it. But just there was an advantage to being white in America. There was. I witnessed it in the 80s. That like a white guy showing up for an interview got the job over the black, like no question. And so why are they doing it like this now? It's, oh, how dare you? It was never like that. No, it was. I remember it. I remember people being like, he's black. I don't really want to be around him. He might steal my bike, which is a valid concern. But as the system pulls back, it's not like eat the whites, eat the white Americans, eat the heterosexual, eat the Christians, eat them, throw them to the lions. Next up is obviously, without question, the Jews. So they'll say, oh, all these rich people in the cities, it's the media, that will become mainstream acceptable for the, like, it's going to be the thing that makes the blacks, the whites, the reds, the browns all unite. That it was those guys. You want to bet? It happens every time. That's why it keeps happening to the Jays. It's like when they get that privileged by the system, they're not the system. They're not responsible for it. They really aren't. They're no more responsible than your white family. Like your white family getting privileges in America because of our empire, because of our, petroleum-backed fiat currency. Like we are privileged for that. And then when the system is burning its fields as it's retreating, because the Ponzi scheme's up, the system is done. It's like it's retreating and it's failing bad and it's very unstable. And so anything that keeps the system in place, and the minions, the ones you don't know their names. I'm guessing they have like old Italian names or something. Like they're not even like J's. Like the Soroses of the world are benefiting tremendously from this Ponzi scheme. And so as the Ponzi scheme collapses, as it goes rung by rung by rung by rung, you know, we're almost past the white rung. And so if the white people become dependent and say, I'm sorry for my skin, like, dude, blacks did it. That's why a lot of these blacks are being protected by the Satan, is because they were like, oh, I'm sorry for my skin. I'll be a good boy and be a welfare recipient and all that. And so then the system pats their head and they're like, good boy, you are dependent. Competition to me is the only sin. Mwahaha. And so if the blacks that are against that are not being protected. Like Carl Brown is not under the dragon's wing. You know, they're seen as self-hating white supremacists, even with black skin. It's like they're not protected. It's the same with right now the whites. They're trying to get the whites to like take the universal basic income, take the deal, you know, condemn their own history, condemn their own skin, condemn their nation. And then the great Satan will be like, oh, mwahaha, you need protection. You are a victim. Reparations from the Jew. And then the Jew's like, oh, fuck. And so as the system retreats, like right now I'm seeing it. It's mainstream hatred of Jews is starting. And I suggest you do not take part in that at all. It was cool when like no one was talking about it and like you're figuring out who runs the media and pills and all that. And then you get real self-sovereignty, real masculinity when you say, I'm not taking your pills, Jew. I'm not taking your loans. I'm not watching your movies. And then they go, come on, I'll give you a great deal. And you go, no, I'm my own man. I'm going to have a family, a farm. I'm going to grow prosperity. I'm going to worship God only. And you be on your way, little leprechaun. And he goes, tee-hee, tee-hee. And that's it. If you don't have the self-control to do that, you don't deserve it. If you think you have to hurt the Jew because you don't trust yourself to not take his pills or watch his pornos, you're always a slave. And the next group will just feed you your you'll die. In my opinion, those people are all fucked. I think we're going to see mass death. There's got to be something dead out there. Okay, we're going to watch, before I read this letter, we're going to watch The Leprechaun by Be Grateful Bear. Because it sums it up perfectly. The leprechaun right now in America is the Jewish culture, the chutzpah. They're not even like the real Jews. I'm not even talking about like the satanic like eye of the pyramid. I'm talking about like just normal Jews are real stubborn and pushy. You know, they are. It's like in their culture, and that's okay. It's all right. But it's like their chutzpah, trickery, like that stuff is about to start biting in the ass really bad. All right, watch this. This is exactly what's happening. And I know I get heat sometimes for literally not changing my opinion. Like we made this 7 months ago. So if people are like, oh, you're a shill for the Jew, that's going to happen. People are going to say that to me because they want to feel like a victim. So 7 months ago when you were listening to me, did you think that? A year ago? Come on now. Because it's now the reversed. It's like what I saw in Hollywood, I'm now seeing in like certain groups of quote unquote right-wing patriots where it's like, you know, there'd be Hollywood people when I was getting kicked out. And I'd be like, so you're telling me women and men aren't different? You're telling me a black guy's never stolen your bike? You're telling me you didn't 1 year ago laugh at trannies? 1 year ago, we were both laughing at trannies. And they're going to be like, I'm on the right side of the history. It's like when you just don't change or you just kind of grow and just see stuff for what it is, the people that buy in, they take the ticket, as Vox says, they like lose their ability of thought. They're like, they can't discern. They're like, I saw that. I'm seeing that now with certain right-wing people where they're like, oh, how dare you not condemn the Jew? And I'm like, you don't see it? Like, you don't see what's happening? Like, I was the dude who was talking about the Sackler family before anyone else was. Teva Pharmaceuticals. I cracked a lot of codes, and I was one of the only mainstream-esque people that would make fun of Jews. And so I'm telling you, it's a trap. I know it's a trap because making fun of Jews is great. They deserve it. You know? Pointing out that there is these weird Jewish groups doing creepy shit, needs to be said. And whether they're fake Jews or some of them are, I don't know. But like, they're not your problem. They're no more your problem than white people are the problem of black people. Like in LA, that's why I see the collapse and how it's happening socially. It's like when I was in LA, I watched black friends of mine become insane, where they're like, oh, the white man, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you mean me? I'm like, dude, I've employed you. I've taken you on the road to open for me. How can you say that to me? Like, I'm not your problem. I'm part of this fucking pyramid that you're part of. And it's like, as they retreat, they need scapegoat. Oh, it's a bat in China. That's why you're unhealthy. It's not the food. It's not your bad thoughts. Not your porn addiction. Oh, it's a monkey in Africa. That's why all these homos are dying. It's like, oh, it's the Jews. That's why financially you're a mess. You sure it's not because you go on a Carnival cruise every year and you have like a brand new Altima? It's like, come on, you're a pampered little bitch, and now you need somebody to blame. And so right now, this is kind of what the Jews are facing. Not the Jew, I don't even know what to call them. I don't care. But like, this sketch is literally what they're feeling. They're like, dude. And Tom Barnett had another theory. Let me just say this first. That they've been weakening the population as much as we consent to being weakened, so much in anticipation of us figuring out these scams. Because if you had like a 1930s guy, 1950s guy, be shown the monetary system that we're now seeing, what war really is, what disease actually is, like all these scams, the medical industry. It's like if you had a lot of jizz in your balls and like fire in your step, like they'd be very, very scared. So that's why they have been pushing LGBT and jerking off and porn and like processed food, is because with a weakened male, it's like you see that behind the curtain of Oz, you see who the Wizard of Oz is, and you're like, do you have any pornos? You know, they've like taken away that fear that like there's going to be repercussions. And the repercussion, by the way, shouldn't be violence against these people, because they're fucked. If you want to not give them food, you have a right to do that. I've thought about that a lot recently with the people, the gamma bears that have like betrayed us and like talk shit about stuff they know is good. You have a right to keep your gate closed. That's it. That's about it. Like, you don't have a right to go out and kill people or like blame a demographic for your problems. You do have the right, and this will come. You'll see it. You'll see it in your lifetime. You will have a right that if you're right now accepting your burden, accepting the cross on your back, plowing your field, growing food, growing a community, being good to your neighbors, getting milk, all this stuff, employing other people, not just sitting on your Bitcoin so it goes to the moon. No, you should be employing people with that Bitcoin. Sitting on it, waiting to become rich so you can buy farmland, good fucking luck with that. Your community is the valuable part. You know, employing, educating, sharing food, nutritious food. You will have a right, and if you want to take joy in this when it happens, go for it. To not feed them. It's like in Batman. I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. You don't have to feed the people that did this to you, because they won't have food. They won't have nourishment. They will be insane. They will be like zombie people. And so if you want to look forward to that and take schadenfreude in that, go ahead. But like, don't fantasize about hurting these people or like overthrowing or storming or protesting. Guys, protests don't work. Violence in the streets, it means you already lost if you engage in it. Like, you've already lost. If you scream at the sky like a crazy SJW, oh, the Jew, you know, it's like you've already lost. Like, really believe in God. Don't just like fake it and say, John 3:16, oh, I'm gay. Like, really know that it's true. That like in the end, during Revelations, like this is what's going to happen. And I believe, I mean, I'm sure that there is one great story from Genesis to Revelation, but I tend to believe that time is not linear and it's cycles. I think we'll experience I don't know. I think there's many revelations. I think that like many populations have experienced Genesis and Revelation. I think it is fractal. I think that like we will be seeing Revelation in our lifetime. I'm not saying that's the end times. I think out of that revelation may be another Genesis. I don't know how that works, and frankly, I don't think most people do. But like, the story is clearly true, and so during Revelation, which you will experience on some level in your life, you don't have to feed them. I think that charity and goodwill and all that stuff is great, and you should be doing that now, and you should be building foundations now. But when this thing pops, when all these Bitcoin billionaires, when it pops and they realize that they've just been nothing but terrible to people, and that the only reason they're clamoring at your gate to get goat milk is because they're starving, you don't have to open that. So if you want to take pleasure in knowing that, great. You know, but don't kill them. All right, here's this. If you accept the nature of things, you don't get mad. You're just like, oh, the leprechaun's here. He's got a trick. Watch this.
Oh. Transgenderism with the hormone C. A boy becomes a girl 3. Tee-hee, tee-hee.
And you're like, oh, the leprechaun's trying to sell some hormone products and subvert the family.
Oh, you got me. And now I'm gone. Tee-hee, tee-hee, tee-hee. Tee-hee, tee-hee.
And this all starts when you just acknowledge it. Don't be like, okay, leprechaun, give me your gold, and then I'll sign your paperwork that I don't understand.
Are you fucking serious? This is too easy, bro. I mean...
Oh, no, seriously. What do I say? I mean, I'm going to trust you. I mean, you're wearing a nonsense hat, and you're from a foreign country, and you keep smiling like literally a devil grin, and you're giving me free gold. What could possibly go wrong?
Dude, when this all crashes, don't kill me. I'm a leprechaun.
No, I mean, why wouldn't I just, trust all my nutrition and news and publishing and war? Hey, you want my son? Take him to Afghanistan. So Bin Laden's still there?
You fucking believe this? When this crashes, it was still your fault for signing the paper.
What could possibly go wrong? Give me the gold, take my son. Why would you lie? You're a little trickster wearing a weird hat that I don't know. And you're like, dude, it's called a chutzpah. They tell you what they do.
Read the fine print, tee-hee.
I don't no problem. Why? I mean, I trust you. You are wearing a white jacket and a very small hat. And you have a piece of paper on the wall that says you went somewhere that I don't understand. So why exactly are you going to be cutting my child's penis?
Smegma, see? Tee-hee, tee-hee. The cancer on the PP.
Sounds good to me. Take the dicks. And when he's old enough, just take him to war. And if he dies, I'll know it's for a good cause.
Dude, you're not even skeptical?
Why would I be skeptical? This is not a land of leprechaun. This is a land of freedom. America, soil, God.
Buddy, I'm wearing green pants. When you figure this out, like you're gonna kill me.
Figure what out? You seem like a very honest man. Why wouldn't you want to clip the tip of my son's dick, put him in debt, send him to war, and make him watch pornos his whole life? And then he'll go to school where he learns lies and gets given hormones and food that has been changed genetically to give him breasts. What part about this isn't great?
Dude, there's gonna be nothing to steal if you don't see through some of these tricks. Read the fucking contract, bro. I don't even want to be here, dude. Come on, man. It's your son.
Inject him with aluminum. I mean, how else is he not going to get the plague? All right, let's put on some masks. Let's watch another one from Be Grateful Bear. That's so funny. Yeah, where's Be Grateful Bear? I mean, he's been crushing it for a very long time. Oh, it crashed. That's a funny one. He's been doing this for a while. Oh, look at what they do. Man, this is my favorite one he's ever done. And there's less than 1,000 views on this because it's not comedic. Yeah, is that a good... I want to give you guys a good scene, but I want to be out of the sun. Hang on. It's not exactly comedic, but it's haunting. And this is like, look at what Look at what they do, Father. Like, really, really understand Satan's perspective. Like, it's pure envy, pure demon shit. And when you really understand it, you no longer have victim consciousness because the devil can't make you do shit. And not enough people have seen this one. People should share this. Be Grateful Bear, unbearablesmedia.com, and he's also on YouTube. About the world wars and shit, and war itself. It's just like thinking about my sons going into that shit for those people and having to live with that. It's not even about dying, it's living with that the rest of your life. Imagine being a parent and being like, go get him, Tommy. Go out there. You fucking go die for the grabbler. It makes me sick. And dude, the only people that profited were the banks. The banks made so much money on World War I and World War II. Not that they didn't invent the money, but they got so much influence and so much power because they humiliated humanity. They looked at God and said, look at what your creation is doing. They're killing off their own children because of social shame. That's you love them more than me. That's Satan, right? You love them more than me, Father. Where are you, Father? You love your precious humans more than me. I thought I was your special boy. Look at them now. Look at them now bleeding in the fields because they didn't want to face shame. And you love them more than me. That's the devil. He never stops. That's why they got so much power, because they got all these parents to go, I don't want to be the odd one out. I don't want to be the one that doesn't have a brave son. And the devil's like, Father, look at what they are. They won't even save their own boy. Look at your precious man. Look at what they do. You know how easy it was to trick them? Look at them, Father. You loved me more once. No one kills the children anymore. Yeah, and that's it. And you can blame Jews all you want, or like fake Jews, or the banks. No one made you do it. That's the equivalent of blaming tits because you cheat on your wife. Where it's like, but sweetie, she had huge tits. How am I supposed to say no? It was shame that did it. It was shame. It wasn't that they were fighting for freedom. That's a lie. That's bullshit. Maybe some of them thought that, but it was because if they said no to it, people called them names. That's how little a lot of these people love their own kids. They just wanted envy. They wanted other people to look and say, it's a hero. It's someone with a lot of medals on their jacket for killing people. And I think like 9/11 in Afghanistan, all that, I mean, Vietnam started waking people up a lot, but like at this point, I know a lot of high-ranking military people and none of them are like proud anymore. And that's good. That's good. Because it's like, it's one thing to be a warrior. It's one thing to be a strong man and fight for your family and stuff. But like, that isn't being a warrior. That's just killing people for banks. All right. Social shame, the great weakness of the so-called white. Yeah, totally. Dear Big Bear, I'll try to keep this letter short and readable, but brevity and legibility are not exactly my forte, so apologies in advance just in case. I've been wanting to write you for some time as I have been following you since the days of the Claw, but I can't recall exactly how long. To say you have had a positive impact on my path in life would be an understatement. Recently in a stream you mentioned how if people would have taken your advice 2 years ago, they would be better off. I did just that and can honestly heartily agree with that statement. I quit watching porn, quit my prestigious job as a commercial banker, sold the homestead in Oregon, and moved to Missouri Ozarks. The goal was to be debt-free, live in a more simple, non-usury-based life where I wasn't away from my wife and children 60 hours a week, and try to get to know God. When we first arrived in Missouri, we were full of energy and excitement of what could lay ahead. Then adversity showed up in more ways than I have time to go into. We planned to buy a good plot of land to pursue our dream of building a permaculture farm, but as soon as we arrived, housing inventory dried up, and what was planned to be 2 weeks with my mom turned into 5 months. While there, we really struggled between the emergency C-section for our 4th child and no longer having a small farm and growing a portion of our own food, we really started to question our decision. We finally found our farm and went to work on building, but we were still seemingly met with challenges around every corner. We really wondered if we had made a huge mistake. Then the thing called Corona hit, and the world became even more insane. We quickly got as many things as we could think of that we might need: milk, cows, goats, sheep, pigs, chickens, building supplies, a tractor, sawmill, etc. Yeah, I spiraled. It's all good. More importantly, we built relationships with our neighbors. The Great Bear Trail came shortly after, and of course the Bear Times app. We suddenly found we had several bear families that were recent transplants here as well. What a game changer. I can constantly amazed at the quality and quantity of bears. There have been so many amazing things that have happened in our lives in the last 18 months. So many things God has done and showed me that there is zero doubt He had a plan for us, and we are now where we need to be. I could go on about the impossibilities in the trajectory of my earlier life that brought us here, the skills we have acquired, the lessons learned, all to prepare us to crush in this critical moment, to show our children and those around us ways forward, but I'll wrap it up. I remember having lunch with one of my clients who knew we had a small farm and knew of my love for permaculture. He talked to me and he looked me in the eye in my fancy custom suit and said, "What are you doing here? You don't belong here." It was like he saw right through me, and God spoke through him straight to my soul. He went on to rightly point out that I was a fence sitter between two opposing worlds, and that one day I would have to choose. Wow. Amazing. You helped give me the courage to put away the fancy pants, and for that I'm very grateful. Two quick things that made me laugh and are confirmations of God's plan for me. One, in high school, one of the first songs my friends and I tried to cover in our band was called My Bike by Goaty Hook. Number two, more significantly, when my wife and I started dating in 2008, she used to eat honey straight out of the bear squeeze bottles, and I started calling her Ms. Honey Bear. When we got married in 2010, I told her, well, I guess that makes me Mr. Bear, and together we are the Bear family. I love it when God winks are so obvious. In light of all this, may I please be verified as BTA handle Mr. Permy Bear. Welcome, Mr. Permy Bear. Thank you again for the inspiration and all you do for this community. Keep crushing, my friend. Sincerely, Mr. Permy Bear. What a wonderful letter. That letter just made me very happy. Wow. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, you're going to face obstacles when you're getting rid of Babylon, but like the payoff is insane. All right. What a legend. He went from banker to Missouri farmer. And like all that, yeah, there's so many bears, guys. Like Beartari Times app. But you have to like build together. It's not a place of parasites. It's not a place to like go get something cheap. Like, someone give me something. I'm a baby. But it's a great place if you want to find people that have similar goals and you know, ways of seeing the world, like-minded people. Man, this is powerful. Yeah, it's great. Dear O1, I found this book in my old shelf and knew it was perfect for your family. Perfect Walter practices his violin while a Grabbler fox tries to lead him astray. No way! It's called Walter the Wolf. A little Grabbler fox tries to get him to not play his violin. That's exactly what it's like in real life. Look. Anyways, I wanted to rejoice with you as I have come to discover my grandfather was based. My heart overfloweth with joy. Found out that he would shake his finger at the old Tell Live Vision and say, "We didn't go to the moon." It felt good knowing my husband and I were no longer alone amongst our pro-vaccine brain-dead boomer family, and even though my grandfather is in heaven, still felt a good squeeze on my shoulder with a voice saying, "You're doing great, kid. God bless you, Mama Dawn Bear." Wow. What a wonderful day of letters. Oh, more from Laurel. This is from Kung Fu Bear. I always forget the name of his company simply because I used to live on Laurel Canyon. And so I always think, where is it? Boom, this is awesome. Laurel Classics, the original strain. Nice, Kung Fu Bear. Thank you for the hoodie. Yeah, I know it seems weird that every time I forget Laurel Classics, it's because I used to live on Laurel Canyon, and the sea, like it's like Laurel Canyon, and all I think about is Laurel Canyon. So it's like, and so that's why I'm always like Laurel, and people are always like, oh, Classics. I'm like, because my mind has been so like set on Laurel Canyon, so it always pops in my head. I'm like, oh, Laurel Canyon. I'm like, well, it's not Laurel Canyon, and then I always forget. Kung Fu. Just remember, Kung Fu himself is a classic. That's a good way to think, Guys and Bear. You know, Cod's about to drive 40 hours to Idaho. Oh, and by the way, next week I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff at Ursa Rio, so I don't know what my schedule is going to be for live streaming. It will definitely be less. I just don't know when or how. In memory of Gary and Terry, would you please play Don't Stop Believing or Africa 33 times on the piano as loud as you can? Could it be this is actually Gary's piano? I'm not making claims. Red-winged black bear. Let's take a look. This is definitely Gary's piano. Hang on, how does this work? Oh no, that's Highway. No, Don't Stop Believing goes. So funny. What do you guys want to hear? It's beautiful. All right, Hava Nagila. My cow right now is pissing really loudly. Dude, my cow Mandy just called me a Jew. She literally just went, Jew. Mandy, why are you looking at me like you want to have a final solution? My cow Mandy, literally, she's just staring at me. Hey, look at this. You guys see Mandy? Like, Mandy's just staring at me going, Jew. Dude, her head just popped up. She was like, and it was because of that song. You know, let's see if she really freaks out and starts getting homicidal. She's plotting. Based Mandy. Mandy knows now that someone needs to be kicked off the property. I bet if you see me homeless in a week, it's Mandy. Mandy just looked at me and went, 110. What is this called? I have no idea. But it's amazing. Van Gogh. Hey, love. Hey, Wally, come here. Check this new toy out. He's pumped. Yeah, you got to breathe in that and then play on the keyboard. It's amazing. Go show your brother. Go show your brother. He's popped. All right, that's going to be it for me today. Any final super chats, Cod? So remember, make a video about your own Beartaria and send it to whydidn'ttheylaugh@gmail.com. Title it Beartaria. Beartaria.io. Fill that out. You'll get your invite either today or tomorrow for the build if you're a donor. Unauthorized.tv, Beartaria Times app, unbearablesmedia.com. Make sure you subscribe to all the other Bear accounts. What else? At Owen Comedy on Instagram. Great job, BB. Hey, thank you. And if I ever have miscommunications in the chat, I was thinking about my stream yesterday, and I know I was being a little aggressive. Hey, buddy. Just understand that it's a really, really hard medium for communication to talk to a live chat. And so just always, like, you know, I don't want to tell people to walk on eggshells around me because that's not a great way to live. Like, if you were in my life, you don't have to walk on eggshells around me. I'm a very non-triggerable person. But in a chat, just really understand the limitations of how I perceive it. It's just strange people, a lot of people that I don't know, just talking without me seeing any. It's almost like being Ben Shapiro. It's like I can't, like, Charlie's over there. Charlie, come here. Want to see a new instrument? Come here. It's like I can't see body language, tone, context. If you're talking to somebody else, I don't understand. So, like, it's not cowardice or, like, cucking to, like, back down from me because it's not like I'm being dominant over you. Does that make sense? It's like I don't know what you're saying sometimes. And so it's best to just say, just to, like, stop talking or, like, not be confrontational. And that's not cucking to me at all. What that is like, I can't read your face or tone. And so when communicating in a live chat, just really understand that like you're kind of playing with fire a little because, you know, you could be anybody with any intention and I can't read tone, context, or body language. Kind of like what I said earlier to Time Bear. I'm sure it could have been absolutely nothing. And so if it appears I overreact, just understand I don't know your intention or your nonverbals. Yeah, Charlie, you want to play this a little bit? All right, ready? Here, take that. You want to blow on it? There you go. All right, dirt for the bucket. Let me see, I can't read this. Dirt for the bucket.
Hey, I think, wow.
Yeah, you got a new book.
Wow.
Yeah, go check it out. I'm just going to go on the shade because I can't read these. Go check it out. It's called Walter and the Wolf. All right. Go look at the pictures. Dirt for the bucket. Hope it helps. Keep Chief runs with premise. Hilarious. Chief runs with premise. That's a great bit. Runs with premise from smashing Cod's kneecap. You're on point on crypto. I almost went for it until my boss started pushing it, saying he'd give away $500 for anyone who did. Soon as I heard free money, I saw the trap, and you confirmed it. Thanks, BB. Yeah, it's a trap. Guys, it's no different from any other Ponzi scheme in the history of the world. And that's not me backing fiat. Fiat is just more sustainable because it's backed by the buying and selling of oil. Crypto is backed by only belief. It's only religion that backs it. It's the atheist religion where Elon Musk is the biggest pastor in the world. And the way he gets people is the up and down swings of not knowing what abusive daddy is going to do that day. Me saying this is not an endorsement of of fiat currency, but fiat is objectively more sustainable. And then what's more sustainable than fiat is gold and silver. Now, I'm not even backing gold and silver. According to biblical prophecy, or it could be Islamic prophecy. I confuse them sometimes. Or it might be Mormon. I actually think it's Mormon. That in the end times, people will be shoveling silver and gold in the streets like it won't have any value. Because each level of the financial Ponzi scheme is collapsing. So it's like crypto collapses first, even though I think crypto will be adopted for a period of time. Then fiat, then gold and silver, and then you're right back to the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God doesn't have gold and silver in it, although the most godly existence you can have is with silver and gold. If you have money. Then after that, fiat, which is like a debt-based, military-backed, trading-backed, oil-backed currency. And although it does seem like nonsense, it's literally like biblical law compared to cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is literally the whims of the media and emotions of retards. So stay out. And if it goes up to 1 million, and if then you go, I shouldn't have listened to you, Big Bear, you still should have. Trust me. Or not. If you're into it and you don't care, great. But like these questions should be asked, and if they like bother you, ask yourself, why does it bother me that Owen's saying this? Is because I might think he might be kind of right. All right, I found out about Flat Earth in 2010. My husband got really upset about that I believed it. What would one thing I could say to show him it's real? Well, one, tell him that only gays get really upset at women for thinking the world's flat. Just be like, "Are you a gay?" I'm joking. I don't want any marital problems. But lighthouses, and it doesn't matter. Like, don't even to be honest with you, don't even bring it up to him. He doesn't need to believe what you believe. Just don't rub it in his face that he's stupid. I used to face that. Like, I'd be like, 8 inches per mile squared. Do the math on a lighthouse. And they'd be like, your marriage is way more important than being right about flat earth. So I actually recommend you don't even bring it up to him. If it really bothers him and he doesn't have the masculine emotional control of not being upset and pissy. Hey, love. Isn't that great? Your marriage is infinitely more important than flat earth. So keep a good relationship with your husband. Don't bicker about divisive things, because that's kind of the point. You know, I'm not even a flat earther. I don't know what the earth is. I don't know if it's like a realm of consciousness, or is it like I don't know. All I know is what it is not, and that's a spinning ball, because it can't be. It can't, the laws of physics can't function in a spinning ball. But definitely don't have marital conflict over something so stupid. All right, make him tap air. Appreciate the streams. You're a good man. Also, happy birthday to Papa J. Thank you. Bowler Bear says, watching with my mom. She's starting to get it. Oh, I read that one already. Is that it, Cod? Did I get to all of them? Don't make them deaf. It sucks. Yeah, Lady QAnon Bear will tell you all about marital problems with... Man, this is actually a pretty cool backdrop to do live streams at. This is really comfortable, standing here. What if Earth isn't flat, but it's also not a globe? I'm totally listening to that. I think flat Earth, like making a claim that it's a flat Earth, ironically, it's like you have to then prove that, which you actually can't without like technology and exploring that we can't currently do. I think that there is a trap in flat Earth that it's way better to be a globe skeptic. And then if people are mad at you about being a globe skeptic, that's okay. Because they're just wrong. You have a right to be a globe skeptic. But because it's not X, it must be Y. Right. Watch out for false binaries. All right. There's a chance it's one of many domed locations on something much larger. Yeah. I mean, what it could be is pretty infinite. Like I can dream up some amazing things of what would correspond with. I mean, we could be in the eyeball of a giant. You know, we could be in a raindrop. We could be at the bottom of a giant ocean. We could be Atlantis. This whole thing could be an air bubble in the bottom of Atlantis, like an underworld thing, and that the stars are like vibratory. Dude, it's like infinite what it could be. What it is not is a spinning ball held together by gravity because a bunch of pedophiles in white lab coats told you so. That's not what it is. You know, we could be around the iris of a giant's eyeball. We could be Atlantis. We are Atlantis. We are the sunken civilization. You know, and outside just look at your eyeball, right? You want to get trippy? Doesn't that look a little bit like the white Antarctic shelf around the blue and the green of the world, and then the black hole in the middle, which could be, the North Pole or the Hollow Earth or whatever you want to call it. And then brown-eyed people, you know, a brown-eyed world would be like Mars or like someplace that's real dead and full of thieves. All right, Canada's lucky to be in Atlantis right now. Did someone say eyeball? Yeah. I mean, dude, tell me that doesn't look a little bit like the Earth. And Darwin's dilemma was always based around the eyeball. Darwin, at his death, did not believe in evolution. You guys know that? At his death, Darwin, it was called Darwin's dilemma. He couldn't explain the eyeball. BB, let me photograph your eyes so we can get to the bottom of this. Oh, Balance Bear. I'm not going to be one of your whores. All right. We could be the primordial ooze. Could it be? Could it be? I mean, Tyler Goldstein has some gravy with that we're all like cells in God's consciousness. I know that gets all trippy and shit, but he's like a legit physicist. Granted, I believe we are created by a creator, that we are not the creator, because it's just a simple paradox I avoid, that the created cannot create itself. That being said, there's tons of fractal realities to what Goldstein talks about, where it's like we are potentially the living cells within God. You know, like inside our bodies is like uncountable amount of living beings that make up our universe, which is our system. And so the universe of God's system, we could be cells in that. And that, you know, the mitochondria and all that within a cell is a living, it's like that could be an entire world. And it's like the larger it gets, the fractal larger it gets, the more divine, complex, right to the one source. And then the smaller, the simpler. And don't run with this stuff too much. I'm just giving alternatives that I haven't even really thought about. My point being, I'm not making a claim we live on a flat earth. Because then what happens is the flat earthers start making claims that they can't justify, which is how globe earth started. You know, it's like that. You don't want to like start up another, like the same trap that you just fell into. The reason that science has become such a joke is because the scientific process is very basic. It's you observe, you test, you report. That's all it is. So unless you can make an observation and then do a controlled test with a control group, a variable, independent variable, dependent variable, double blind, all this stuff, and then you create a hypothesis, you have the scientific quote unquote community test your hypothesis, try and rip it apart, question it. That's why the concept of not questioning science is an oxymoron. The entire strength of science revolves around unlimited skepticism. Science is the art of questioning. So you create this idea based on observation tests. You say, okay, like I'll give you an example of a scientific test. Electricity causes, an ohm causes heat and electricity. Resistance causes heat and electricity. So what you do is you get like 5 electric circuits. You'd apply resistance to one, but the person doing it wouldn't know which one it was. That's called a blind or a double blind, where all 5 would appear to be exactly the same. One would have resistance in it, but the person observing it and studying it and writing down their observations does not know which one has the variable. The other 4 would be controls. Okay, so then the person would say this one has more heat than the others. And then you unveil which one had resistance. You would see that it was that one. And then you do it again and again and again. And over time, you'd realize that if the observer was blind to the control and the variable, and you keep seeing the same result, you would then have a hypothesis. You would say, my hypothesis is resistance, ohms, is what's causing heat. Like without resistance, electricity does not have heat. With resistance, electricity has heat. Okay, so then the scientific community would be frothing at the mouth to prove you wrong, to test their own, to take it, to rip it apart, to see if you're being funded by somebody. You know, that's the whole point. And then if the scientific community attempts to rip apart your thesis or your thesis, your hypothesis long enough and can't, that's when it starts becoming a law or a theory and then law. So the hypothesis is, I think based on my observations that resistance creates heat and electricity. Okay, so then you do experiments where the only difference that you can do is resistance. So everything else is exactly the same. You have one variable. You understand how this means you can't ever do astronomical science because it's only observations. You can't do an experiment. You can't have a hypothesis. You can't try and prove yourself wrong. It's pure masturbation. Like you look in the sky and you go, wow, it looks like everything's moving away from each other. Write it down. Okay, how do you do an experiment? You would then have to be in control of the heavens and do scientific experiments. Now, that's logic isn't necessarily scientific because all the rules of logic is how you can think and process the world around you. Like you can't always do a scientific experiment, but what I just explained is what science is. The definition of science is the scientific method. And so if you have a community that cares about, don't question the science, you're not doing science. You're doing the opposite of science. You're doing religion. It's theology. That's all it is. It's the opposite of science. Science is material, objective, and testable. And the whole culture of science is to test and question and try and rip it apart. If you have a hierarchy like the Catholic Church, except it's at an institution, you have the Pope, the granddaddy, like Neil deGrasse Tyson or whatever the funding mechanisms are, and he says what he believes, everybody under him should be ripping it apart. So like global warming, when they say, science agrees. No, it does. It can't agree. You can't do an experiment when it comes to global warming. You can only observe and make hypotheses. You can't do experiments. Every experiment you try to do, it doesn't work because it's A, it's a scale, and B, it's completely not conclusive. You can't do science when it comes to global warming. You can only do observation. So when people are trying to rip it apart and say, well, every one of your mathematical models that predicted that the Earth would be done by 2012, none of it came true. An inconvenient truth, all those predictions, none of it came true. That should have scrapped the whole thing. That if you can't do a scientific experiment, what you can do is make predictions. It's still not science. But even at that point, you can say like, oh, well, my predictions, like me, like I make predictions, a lot of them come true. People then have more trust in me because my logic and reasoning ability with what I'm witnessing works really well. Quote unquote, science is horrible at predictions. Horrible. And so it should be laughed at and disregarded all the time. That's why this vaccine stuff is like the end result of lying and accepting bullshit for so long that you have a hierarchy, you have a theological structure with no sense of reality at all. And so because of that, you're going to just start poisoning yourself. And that's just the way it's going to go. In the same breath, that's the reason you can't say the Earth is flat. Exactly. I can say based on my observations, the Earth appears flat because there's no curve. It's stable. There's no observable spin. Michelson Morley did all the science behind the fact that the Earth is not spinning right around the time of Einstein. It was actually accepted by most of his peers. People tried to pick apart Mickelson Morley. Don't argue with your husbands about this, by the way, ladies. Just let it go. Trust me, it's not worth it. Mickelson Morley, because it's too crazy for some people. They just can't handle it, and the love you have in your family is way more valuable. So they tried to pick it apart, and that's when they brought out the theory of relativity, which pretty much destroyed science. The theory of relativity says whatever you want is. It's like it's a truth statement that removes truth, which isn't a paradox. Always watch out for paradox. A paradox saying nothing can be true. That is a truth statement. So it contradicts the fundamental existence of itself. If someone says nothing can be true, it's like, is that true? They're like, yes. You're like, you're crazy. And guys, they're crazy people. So it's like, yeah, do science, is that right? But they fuck themselves. They're not a threat to you. Their thoughts are all insane. Like they're like, I think. It's like, well, Mickelson Morley did all the science, like all the observable, they did like light beams and tested it and measured everything. And they're like, yeah, the earth is not a spinning ball. It can't be a spinning ball. And that's when the establishment was so egotistical and so like, the real problem with a lot of people is like I say I might be wrong, but I'm not lying. They say I might be lying, but I'm not wrong. Those people that idolize themselves, and this cartoon is exactly that. Look at this. That's a funny one. I'll get to that one. Okay, they look at a pear tree, they cut it down, they create an idol to pray for a pear tree. They had it the whole time. Like, that's how they function all the time. They're like, that's why all these people are literally injecting like experimental snake oil into their body because their health is deteriorated because of their own behavior. It's obvious. It's a pattern. All right. Here's something funny though. Let's get off that. I got to wind down. Grandma. All people think about is sex these days. Also grandma. 15 kids. Yeah, your grandma fucked nonstop. It's just the difference between modern women and grandma is she did more fucking, but she didn't murder her own kids and then cry and then take drugs. Feminism. Oh yeah, this is the thing I was telling you. Silver's up 70% a year. Here's wax per se. Could go even further. I'm a huge silver fan. I think it's great to retain wealth, but because the media is reporting it like that, I think it's going to go down. Because they always do that. They're never trying to make you rich. Whenever they say like, oh, it's about to go up. It's like, so that means you want to sell it to retards. All right. That's going to be it for me today. All right. True, my grandmother had 10 children. Yeah, just constant banging and not murdering of their own kids. And she only fucked her grandpappy. Yeah, except for that one black guy. Jeez, I hate that black guy. He's always banging everyone's grandma. Isn't that right, Bowler Bear? And Mama Bowler Bear. Had a blast today. Me too. I like talking about science like this because I actually really, really like science. I tested off the charts and all the science tests, like off the charts, guys. It was like out of 790 out of 800, bio, SAT2 and all this. Same with physics, 760 out of 800. It was because I like experiments. I even like behavioral experiments. Like, you know, that's why I like some of these bike thieves in the city that are seeing if how far they can take social engineering, where they'll like hold a random. Like that one guy was holding a one of those label makers to that other bike thief's head, like it was taking her temperature, and he just kept putting like barcodes on her head. You know, that's why I was on the show Punked, and I'm like friends with the Impractical Jokers. It's like that's science more than anything you see in science. You're like, will people let me do this? And then you see the Achilles heel in most communities, which is blind trust to strangers. If someone wants to put something against your forehead, you say no. It doesn't matter what it is. Oh, it's just a temperature thing. No. You could put a gun to someone's forehead. There was a video where in one of these bike thief communities, someone's just going around squirting like poison. I didn't show it because it's really jarring because it was a kid. Someone like just sprayed acid into a kid's face. But just like, got them to do a temperature check and just sprayed something in their eyes. And they were like, ah, and the guy just walked away. Because it's like, yeah, if you're going to let someone, it's like, are you going to let me hold this to your neck and say it's to protect you from COVID? Like, how far do people go? And so that's why when I was a cast member on Punk'd, I know how far people can go. It's crazy. It's like they'll literally go along with anything unless they don't, Like Punk'd wouldn't work if it was someone like me. Like if someone like me was like look what just happened. I thought my Instagram was gone in the beginning of this. And you saw my reaction. I was like, oh, okay, it's gone. They need you to be like, no! They need you to idol worship. Like if the punk on me was that they like took away my Instagram or took away, like my reaction wouldn't be entertaining for people because I wouldn't freak out. If someone was like, it's like when Dax Shepard punked that one half bike thief. The whole joke was the humiliation was that they took it. That someone said, wear a mask, put this in your asshole, put this in your mouth, put a gun to your head. Like the world is being punked by demons. And I've been one of those punky demon types. I wasn't doing it to humiliate. Like I kind of was, if I'm being honest with myself, but it was to reveal their inner world. And I think that's why demons are allowed in this realm, because I think it's a way of God to show other people what the insides of people really are. Like, when Justin Timberlake cried when we took all his cars, he cried and called his mommy. Remember that, Punk'd? If you don't cry and call your mommy, like it wouldn't have worked. You would have looked awesome. Justin Timberlake would have been like, they're just cars, but I'll get them back. I know who you guys are. It wouldn't have been entertaining, but Justin Timberlake called his mommy and cried like a little baby. And so people like me would do a public service, I always thought, in comedy and in heckling, and when I was a heckler at Renaissance Fair, like when I did Punk'd, of showing the world just how fucked up everyone is. Now I'm a lot more into showing people how good people are, like the Bertari Times app. Like I think it's it's a time for growth. The dead wood is being pruned and killed and burned, which I like. And then from the ashes, the phoenix will rise. And so I want to be a part of that now. I don't want to be a part of like, look how fucked up everyone is. Because, if at this point you don't see how fucked up most people are, like, I think you're fucked. Because back then it was harder to show people how fucked up everyone is. It's like, look, your celebrity idol is crying because we took his car. This girl can't even say put your pants on because she's so scared to offend. Like, these are your idols. These are your idols, And now I'm like, they're putting masks on their 2-year-olds and taking poison in their fucking arm. And they're calling me the crazy one. It's like, if you don't see now the devil at your door, this is where we part ways. All right, Satoshi says, BB, my bigger, best online friend a dude can have. Yo, Buckets, you're cool too. Thank you. This is from Nancy. Very, very generous. A tip for the piano man. The letters you read today are an outstanding example of the hope and inspiration you offer to people. Good luck with all at Ursa Rio progression. May God bless you and the Bears. Thank you, Nancy. And yeah, we need all the help we can get in the next 2 weeks at Ursa Rio because we're just running and gunning. We're doing like stone cabins and all this, and I've never been a part of a build like this, and we're just like clearing trees and just pouring concrete, and a million problems are going to arise, but we're also shooting it as a documentary. So even if you're not here and you contributed, you're still going to be able to, you're basically an executive producer of a movie. It's like for all you that contributed to Ursa Rio and just to my channel in general, that are never going to come, which is fine. You literally funded a movie you're going to watch. Like we have our documentary filmmaker who was big in Hollywood and quit that world like I did. He's awesome. He's driving up as we speak to Idaho. And then Jim Bob's flying in. Coddington's driving 40 hours. So it's definitely a lot of stress and pressure, especially on some of the guys that are really spearheading it. So, you know, the more you guys can help, the better when it comes to like, if you do come, if you get the invite and you're coming, you know, like bring some food, bring tents, you know, you'll get a whole email. But we're just running and gunning. We're just building Bertaria. I had a dream last night that we were there when it was done. Yeah, that's why we're trying to build stuff that lasts like years. Like I want stone. Might be nice to get an invite. Good excuse to flee your debts, COD. Bravo. Yeah, I think COD's using it to start a new alias. It's wonderful to just be seeing it come to fruition. Yeah, it's great. I mean, that's what makes people feel good. It's like all that time. I used to like donate blood and shit to the Rothschilds. It's like I used to donate blood to Red Cross because I thought I was doing good. And then I find out it's like these grabbler mosquitoes that live in like Switzerland. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Like with this crew, it's like when you donate, you see it come true. Like you guys helped buy my cows. Oh, but they gave cows. A lot of people are doing really well. You know, a lot of the bears, like even if you don't have a farm or homestead or something, the fact you have awareness, you're going to be fine through all this shit. And it's like you're contributing to the entertainment you like. Entertainment is very valuable. Especially these days when you try on Netflix, Amazon, it's tough to find anything that isn't. We're not like a scared bunch. It's like the worst case scenarios aren't even that scary. And I don't even think it's going to be worst case scenarios. I don't think it's going to be like, you know, zero electricity, no gasoline, everyone's freaking out. I think some cities will go through those waves. I don't think it's going to be like Mad Max or anything, but I think that health-wise, it's going to get crazy. If it's the same pattern of AIDS, man, like I don't think there's going to be a lot of death from like UN or China or war or biological weapons. I think that's all nonsense. And I also don't think that you're ever going to live in a world where like you don't have access to electricity or internet or gasoline. I think there's going to be rolling blackouts, shortages, all engineered pretty much as the system collapses a bit. But, you know, if you can get electricity in Malaysia, like you'll get electricity in America. But it's going to be like a much simpler existence. And so if the people that have skills and have accepted a simpler existence, especially in rural areas, like we're not feeling any fear. So if you want to support the entertainment you like, you do. And that's why I'm very blessed and honored to be your entertainer. I'm your bard. I'm your personal bard. Do you guys think that in the next year, 100 million Americans are going to die? Like, what do you guys, I mean, am I being too morbid? Or is this like vax going to like legitimately cause a lot of problems? I'm just going to ask this in the chat and then I'm out of here. I hope not. I don't hope either way. It's whatever God wants. If a lot of people die, it'll be a good thing. No matter, or if a lot of people live, it'll be a good thing. I don't think it will be that many. 60 million abortions since Roe. I know, but I just, AZT just like wiped the gays. And so the pattern of blaming foreign animal for your own behavior, and then it's the same fucking doctor. Dr. Fauci with AZT and now with the vaccine, it's literally the same guy. Like 30 years later, it's the same dude. It's not even a different doctor. Forget it. Like the pattern is there and it's the same guy. Did some gays survive AZT? Yeah, but a lot didn't, dude. It's a long-term thing, probably going to speed up dementia, cancers, etc. I don't know. AZT just wiped the gays out. By 2025, USA down to 120 million in plain sight, boomer side. At this point, I'm convinced that Fauci is a play on Faust. Yeah. I've thought that for a while. The Faucian deal. What's 20 to 30% incapacitated? They are out of shape and injecting the opposite of what their body needs. Yeah, AZT didn't wipe out enough gays, in my opinion. No, but you can't kill the gay. You can't kill the Jew. You can't kill like you can't kill sin. Like our battle is not flesh and blood. It's a fact. gays come from bad dads. So let's say that you don't want to take responsibility as a bad dad. So then you're like, oh, if you kill all the gays. But that isn't how it works, because then as soon as another dad is like absent or sexualizes or like whatever all this stuff happens, then you just get another round of them. It's like if you killed every banker in the world, you'd have banks in like 5 years.
Can I listen to this so we can get out?
Yeah, totally. All right, I'm just going to quit. All right, that's going to be it for me today. P.O. Box 490, Sandpoint, Idaho. Yeah, you can't kill sin. All right, P.O. Box 490, Sandpoint, Idaho, 83864. Send your Bertari videos to whydidn'ttheylaugh@gmail.com. Bertari at Times, the app, unauthorized.tv, bitshoot.com/Owen Benjamin. And yeah, be fruitful, multiply. Don't do the other thing. Don't be fruity and blow, guy.
Eat a fruit fly.
Don't eat a fruit fly.